Okay, so this week in Media and Cultural Studies Viral Video Production, we learned about memes. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't actually know what a meme was until the lecture, even though I'd come across them in day-to-day life. It's strange because you've got the Annoying Orange, which I've watched for ages now, and the Charlie Bit My Finger, and one of my personal favourites, the Harlem Shake. I didn't realise that these were classed as memes, and suddenly I've been plunged into this world of memes, and I encounter them every single day. So I thought that was quite interesting. When I saw it on the course, I thought they were called memes or something. I was like, what's a meme? So now I actually understand what a meme is, and that I probably encounter them every single day of my life. Talking about the reading, which was Into the Meme Pool by James Gleick, that's how you say it. I thought it was interesting the way you can compare memes to DNA. I thought similarity wise it was good to show the way that basically memes are all about replicating and copying. Obviously that's what DNA does, it just replicates and copies, so I thought that was a good similarity and easy to grasp as a concept. But then when it came to trying to find a scientific formula for memes, because DNA has scientific formula, I thought that's kind of where the similarities stopped, because memes are totally sporadic, they can appear anywhere at any time, you can't control it, whereas DNA is a straightforward formula. Memes are just can be created by anyone at any time, anywhere, so it doesn't follow the same kind of structure. One thing I wasn't a fan about on the reading, I kind of had a feeling of human inadequacy. Humans are these meme vehicles that just kind of absorb people's ideas, copy them and replicate them, and we don't have thoughts of our own. And there was a reading that I did called Consumption in Everyday Life by Mark Peterson, and he had a quote that says, "Social beings are imitative, and therefore society itself is an imitation," which I thought quite tied in with what we read about memes, the whole imitating thing, memes are just imitating another copy, and then that's imitated, and it all evolves as it goes along. But I felt this human inadequacy was being shown, that we're just brains, puppets in fact, that just absorb other ideas and then replicate them and absorb other people's ideas and pass them on, kind of thing. And I think we're more than that. We can choose what we want to absorb, and then we can choose what we want to pass on. So I think we're in charge, not the memes. Another meme vehicle mentioned in the reading was that of the internet, and I think the internet is kind of a major driving force behind how popular memes are at the moment. And obviously we're living in the age of virality, and computers are taking over, and they offer limitless time and space, no boundaries, no privacy, so anybody all over the world can access these memes. And I think it is changing us as a culture, it's making us become wittier, the dominant language is becoming English, it's making us appreciate parody and humour more. And I think it is interesting to think, is this change for the better? Is the internet changing for the better? Or is it making us all the same, and we're losing individuality? And we're all just going to think one way. I mean, personally, I like the fact that we can all recognise something and be like, oh, that's Grumpy Cat, or oh, that's Gangnam Style or something, and we can all have this shared knowledge. So I think it can be beneficial, but I do think there might be a loss of individuality there. And where are all these memes actually gonna go? Is it just gonna die out, or are they just gonna carry on getting bigger and better? I mean, we saw how much impact the Olympics had on the meme world. Is it 2016 in Brazil? By 2016, how are memes still going to be about then? Are they going to be even bigger than ever? There's so many questions. It's actually quite deep when you think about what is the purpose of these memes, where are they all going. I think something about memes that is quite interesting is monetization. Where do people stand if they become internet famous, or they're an internet sensation for a meme? I mean, the likes of Grumpy Cat and the Annoying Orange now have their own apps, their own websites, their own merchandise, so they're making money off this idea. But when it comes to copyrighting an idea, you have to be really careful with memes, because you don't know what the original was. You could say, oh, this is an original, but really it's actually a copy of something else. So I think the monetization is quite hard to trace back to the original meme, really. So that can be quite a grey area. I think it is interesting to ask yourself whether memes and the internet culture are creating a singularity in which better and more culture is evolving through the use of memes on the internet, because just someone who doesn't understand how memes are generated, they're just going to think that magically these memes just keep popping up out of everywhere, and they see one meme and suddenly it's replicated, another infinite number of memes are created. So I think that a singularity has been created, and I think the idea of post-singularity is really quite exciting, if not a bit scary. Like, what's going to happen in the not too distant future with all the new like super intelligent people and super intelligent software that's about. I had a lot of fun making my memes. I made too many, so I know I was supposed to make 5, but I had quite a laugh making them, so I've made a bit more than 5, and I've posted them to my Tumblr page. I just hope people share the same sense of humour as me, because some of them I found like quite funny, and then I can just imagine people being like, what, that's not funny. But yeah, I really enjoyed learning about memes. Hello, it's me again. This is kind of like an afterword to my original video, because I was laying in bed last night, couldn't get to sleep, and I was thinking, Hayley, you spoke a lot about the internet culture and memes, and the way that there was like an emergence of a new culture there, but you didn't actually speak about memes not related to the internet. So, I thought I would include a couple of examples of memes that came before the internet, and kind of talk about how these have kind of become extinct as such, kind of like the virus has been killed in relation to the gene idea. So here's a couple of my examples. So in the reading, a meme that was mentioned that isn't an internet meme was that of the hula hoop. Obviously, it's not the hula hoop itself that's the meme; it's the action of doing the hula hoop that's the meme. So in my example of the chainmail, it's forwarding on the message. That is the act of making it a meme and maybe adding your name to it or changing part of the message in some way. In my calculator example, it's kind of like someone writes a word on the calculator and then someone writes a different word and this catches on and then people copy it. And I can remember at school we were all like writing through things in our calculators. And when I was during last year, I learned like the first origins of media, and one of these was bipedalism. And I think like you could kind of say that this was maybe one of the first memes as well. This act of evolution where we're learning to walk. One person is at one stage, and then someone else, like we start on our hands and knees, and then someone copied us. Like we gradually started to get taller and taller and start like properly using our legs to walk. So I think maybe bipedalism could be the first meme, maybe, possibly. But yeah, I just wanted to show some examples of memes that weren't internet memes, because obviously memes aren't entirely to do with the internet, but because of like we're in the age of virality and stuff, the internet is encouraging more and more memes to be created.